How? I'm recording. Okay, well, besides the fact that somebody lost somebody else's homework, like right now, we're going to begin. A bus ride takes about 45 minutes. The company's goal is a MAD of less than zero point 0.5 minutes. Uh, one driver's time for 9 runs of the routes are shown. Did the bus driver meet the goal? Well, what is the mean of the bus times? What? 45.1. That is the mean of the actual times, right? Well, that's just a time. I don't think I asked you to, but yeah, I didn't. No. All right. And then to find the mad, what do you have to find first? 45, that's fine. Okay. So what do you do? But by the way, if you're not told to round, don't round. So, well, how do you calculate? What do you need to calculate the mad? Yes, the distance between all of these numbers and the mean. So I'm not going to go over those, but what is the mad for this situation? Repeating? Point for what? Okay, so let's go over the how do you, no, that's not good. My first period got most of them were the same. So what was the distance for the first one? Like I'm pretty sure you should have done it. Do what? 1.8. And this one? This one? Okay, that's why it varied. If you rounded, you got the thing wrong. If you did not round, if you got exactly 4.5, then you should have gotten the same answer. Do not run on these because we talk about decimals. They make a huge difference. So anybody who did not round, what was the mad? What do you get? 0.43 was what I saw in the first period. Well, zero point 0.4 is fine. I'll take 0.4. Yes. Yes. Oh, for that one, then yeah, you would put just zero point 0.4. Okay, you have to explain those things. Uh, the bus driver did or did not meet the company's goal? Yeah, he did because it's under um, the 0.5 minute. All right. The next one. Below are the different drivers' times on the same route. Find the mean and the mat using the spreadsheet. You did not because you don't have a spreadsheet, but you can do it here. Uh, what was the mean? It was a little bit under the other one, right? What about the mad? 0.70. Well, so did he meet it? No, he went above zero point 0.5, right? Notice that the mean is lower, but the deviation is a lot larger. That probably means that his numbers varied from the mean, really high, and the other one were closer to the mean. So another reminder: if the mean, when the mean is large, that means that the distribution of the numbers is pretty broad. There's a lot of numbers that are far from the mean. For example, if I have a deviation of math that is like, for example, 3, and we're talking about the scores that you have for the star, let's say the average is 80, and you have a deviation, a math of 3, that means they're pretty separate, right? That means you have probably somebody who scored like a 98 and somebody who scored like a 50 something. Those are very far from 80. So the bigger the math, the farther those numbers probably are from the mean. Whereas if I had a mat of 1, then that means the numbers are pretty close to the 80 mark. Yes. No, for this time it's not. But I just want you to know that for next time, you will not be able to get the exact answer if you round it. Do not round unless you're told to. All right. What does the absolute deviation mean, and what does it tell you about the data? Well, actually, just explain that. Thank you. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Germs for all of you. I just explained what happens. So basically, if the absolute deviation is large, you have a whole number or bigger, that means your data is pretty spread out. Your information. Yes? I have some here. If your data, if your the mean, the deviation is small, then that means your data is around the same points. So notice how this one, we have a less than 1 mad, and all the numbers are pretty close to 44.9, right? By even a point maybe. And same on top. So that's basically what it means. But if this was, if the mad was like a 3 or 4, then you will have like 30s and 50s and 60s in this information. That's what it means. All right. So this one right here. Frank wants to know how many people live in each household in his town. He conducts a random survey of 10 people and asks how many people live in the household. His results are shown in the table. What does it mean? Hello? Just 4? Okay. What is a mad? 1.6. Is there anybody in this classroom who does not quite understand how to get the mad? If you don't, you can tell me now and I can explain it quickly. Good. This is a good one because the numbers are easy. So you get the mean, right, of these numbers. Are you good to that point? Ay, Dios mío. Hurry up. All right. So on this one, do not lose me. These are very easy numbers, and this is a perfect example to explain it in case you quite don't get it yet. So the first thing you do is you find the mean, right? We found the mean of the information given. The second thing you do, you have to find the distance from the mean of each of those numbers. Yeah, from the mean. The mean is 4, right? So you look at each of those numbers, you see how far is this number from 4. I'm not talking about negative or positive. It doesn't matter. Just subtract it. It's going to give you a number and make it positive. That's all you need to know. So, hang on. How many points is 1 from 4? 3, right? You put 3 at the bottom. How many points is 3 from 4? What about 2? 2, right? 2, 3, 4, right? 2 points. I'm not talking about negative or positive, just points. The distance. What about 4? Are we good so far? Now that you have that, now you can find the mad. You cannot find the mean absolute deviation unless you have the distance numbers. No. You add all those up and you divide it by the amount of numbers you have. So when you add it, what do you get? 16? You get 16 and you divide it by 10 and you get 1.6. So notice how I told you that if the numbers go above 1, meaning that it's less than 1, they're going to be varied, right? These numbers vary pretty far from 4. You have a 1 over there, you have an 8 over there, which are like opposites. So that creates the variation. So what conclusions can you draw about the typical number of people in each household? What would it be? 4? 4 is basically the mean, the average. You could say that. Hang on. Okay. So you would say that the average house will be 4, but because it ranges so much, you have one that is 1 and then one that is 8, then you can't really say a typical household here. It's not possible. You can only find the average, but it's not possible to say that there is a typical number because there isn't. You can walk around, you can go through this neighborhood and say, well, the average is 4, so you must have around 4. And they're like, no, I only have 1. Or I have 8. No, that's the most. That's not the typical. That's not exactly a typical. You could say 4 and 2, but then again, you will look at that at the most, and you have 2 modes. You have 4, you have 5 that repeats, and 2 that repeats. And they're all at separate points. Does that make sense? So I can't say the most common one is 5, because you also have 2 as the most common, or 4 as the most common. So, mode, the one that we've reached most. All right. So the next one, teachers are being trained to standardize the scores they give to students' essays. The same essay was scored by 10 different teachers at the beginning and at the end of their training. The results are shown in the tables. So what does it mean for the beginning? For this? 81? 83? And what is the MAD? You were supposed to find it, otherwise you can't tell. What? 2.38? What do you get? You cannot possibly answer this question without the math. It tells you to calculate it, so I'm pretty sure you did. Hopefully. Keep it that way. What about the mean for the second one? That's fine. 81.1. What about the MAD? $2.1. Who got 2.1? Raise your hand. Okay. For the first one, who got 2.38 or 2.3? On the other one, I got 3 point something, my first period. 3.7 sounds more like it. Yeah, because usually, I'm not saying like first period is better, but they're a little more. No, they usually agree more on their answers. Like most of the answers are the same. Whereas here I have a lot of variety. Okay, so as I explained, the lower the MAD, that means we have a lower variability, right? That means they're not really spread out. They're pretty close to where they need to be. So what does this information represent? If we went from 3.7 MAD to a 2.1, was there any improvement? Why do you say that? What makes you think that there was an improvement? The what? But what does it mean when the number increase though? As far as this situation, the what? The what? How do they get better? It's not about if the scores are higher, because it doesn't matter. If you have a bad essay, you have a bad essay. What matters is if all the people who are scoring it agree with it at the same level. So in the first one, there is a MAD of 3.7 because there is variation on the scores. So for example, these 10 people score your essay and you had different scores. That's what it means. You had a score of 76, 85, all of these scores. That's what you got. And after the training, some of the scores changed. And actually it become a little more like each other. So what this is trying to say, after the training, most people are rating your essay with the same kind of criteria. It has this, it has this, it has this, check. So basically because it dropped, the MAD dropped, that means there's more agreement among the people who are scoring the test, the essays. What would happen if you had a 0 MAD? Yes, that means everyone agreed on the same thing. So we were scoring, for example, a math problem, which is either a yes or no answer, sometimes. And I had 10 people look at the math problem and they said, yep, that's right. Yep, that's right. Yep. That means everyone who was scoring it agreed exactly on the same number. So there is no variation, right? That means you don't have any MAD. The MAD is 0. That's what it means. However, if you had people to say, well, I'm going to give you a 10 for that. And somebody's like, nope, that's a 5. And somebody said, no, I'm a 6 or a 7. Then your MAD will be pretty high because you have a lot of variation there. That's all it means. Are we good? Is anybody lost? Do I need to go back? All right, let's answer that. All right, so for this one, it says to do it on, that was not homework. That'll be on page 419. Go ahead and find the mean for each and the MAD. It says to use a spreadsheet. Do not use a spreadsheet. We don't have that. Pass it forward. Keep it in the front. All right. So what does it mean for Austin? I'm sorry? 29.4? What is a MAD? Well, guess what? I'll tell you what. I'm going to leave this for homework. You were not going to have homework, but because you took forever, you should have done this a while back. It can be for homework, and I need it by tomorrow, training tomorrow. We're going to move on to the next part. Hey, that was your fault. I ain't got time. 9 and 10. The page that you're working on, Micah, or you were supposed to be working on that one. See, this is what I don't like. I had you working on something for 10 minutes, and then you tell me what page. What were you doing for 10 minutes? Not okay. Not okay. All right. Hang on. Just put it over there. We're moving on to a different concept.
And I thought I was gonna have a free day to myself.
I don't think we need free days. We're going to talk about financial literacy. That's going to be your only homework that you have right now. You need to pay attention for this because what you're going to do tomorrow is highly relevant to financial literacy. This is page 435. Blah, blah. Never mind. Not 435. Keep moving. Keep moving. Planning your future. Keep moving. Oh. We're doing interest, yes. So, this is a formula for, hang on. Simple interest right here. We never used to, we actually did it by hand last time. So before we move on, y'all know what a checking account is, right? Like wherever you keep your money in the bank? Yeah. A credit card? Does a credit card have actual money in it? What is it? It's credit. It's like a debt, right? You're borrowing from the bank, and you have to pay it back. What about a debit card? You already have money in there, now you can use it. What is a deposit? When you put in money to the account, right? What is a grant? Not the government, but an institution or some kind of entity is giving you money. So, for example, when I went to UNT, I had a lot of grants. So that was money I did not have to pay back. It's just money that you get for applying, and basically you get it. They pay you so you can do something. No, that's different. That's different. The grant is given to you exactly when you need it. So it's kind of like a scholarship, but it's different, slightly different. No, they're different. They're just go with that. Scholarships, what are those?
They give you money. It's like a discount.
They pay for it, and yes, and it could be in different ways. It could be reduction of your tuition, or you pay, or they just give you this check and they say this is your money so you can go to school, and you can use it for different things.
What if you don't use it?
Hang on. Yeah. What's tuition? The cost of your classes. That's what it is. No, that's different. Tuition is just the cost of classes. So I'm sorry? The books is different. They're basically extra fees, but tuition it just covers the cost of you attending a class. It's called room and board. That's different. So when you go to college, you have very different expenses. You have tuition expenses, which is specifically just for the classes, and then you have the book expenses, the travel expenses, the room and board, and then all that stuff is different. So it's separate from tuition, though. Do not connect them. And then work study programs. Those basically are, for example, when I go to a different university, if I don't get a university that pays for my entire tuition, then I have to look for a work study program. That means that I'll be working for some aspect of the university, and they deduct my instead of getting paid, they're giving me free tuition. No, I'm just getting free classes. That could. I'm sorry. What? Well, that's different because I'm not really working for free. If I get a work study, I'm working, and my pay is not money. I'm actually paying for my school through work. That's what it is. That's a work study. That's what it means. That's the yeah. That I hope that to get like additional income somehow. All right, so let's move on. Those are the things that you're gonna see for sure on the star. This year, they are pushing a lot of these financial literacy. They're asking like, well, why do the kids need to learn math? These are the useful things, and they are. You need to know these things before you get to high school, so that when you get to high school, you have an idea of what's gonna cost you to get to college, and how you can go about it. Are you gonna apply for grants? Are you gonna apply for scholarships? Are you gonna get a loan? Do not get a loan. Those things you have to pay back. Grants and scholarships you don't have to pay back. Loans you do everything, and they'll chase you until you die. Um, well, the thing is that I mean they could possibly take it out. Like if you have a debt, there's some types of debts that if you don't pay them off, and the government has a hold of your account, they can take it from there. Kind of like child support. So child support is like a debt. Like if you haven't paid child support, and out of nowhere you start working, and they find out that you getting paid, when your check goes in, they deduct the taxes for the government, and then deduct the child support too before it gets to the to you, the employee. So it works the same way. Oh, you will, because debt is a lot. Trust me, you will notice. So for example, for me, oh, when you're dead, it will affect the family. By the way, some debt is transferable. That is good to know. Some debt is transferable. For example, if I'm like 60 years old and I have this much debt, and when you die, your debt and your goods go towards whoever is your immediate family. So let's say my brother gets everything I have. That means he gets everything I have, including my debt. So now he'll be responsible for my debt. So be careful. Don't mess with that, because your people are gonna leave. They're gonna burn you outside. You're not gonna get a burial like a proper one. Okay. All right. So let's go back to this one. Interest, as I explained last time, is just the cost of lending money. So again, if Clarissa wants to borrow money from Melissa, Melissa's not gonna go like, well, I'll let you borrow $5, but I gotta make some money for that. So I need a 20% interest the next day. So she's gonna get back $5 plus 20%, which is $6, right, total. Good. So basically, the loans work the same way. In September, Alex changed. Stop that, please. Uh, this is why she doesn't get anything. She's like distracted, like a little kid. I mean it. In September, Alex charges textbook clothes and some downloads to his credit card. He received a bill from his credit card company for $1,000. The interest rate on the card was 21%. He's going to pay in 3 monthly payments. He wants to know how much this loan will cost him in interest. So, I don't know why they use a loan calculator. I mean, an online calculator. Okay, so your calculators, I mean, on this one, if you were to use it, then what was the principal? How much money does he owe? $1,000, right? And what is the rate, interest rate? And that's a month, right? Oh, per year. And well, that makes no sense. So if you want it in 3 payments, that won't work. Let's put it that way. Let's just do it. That wouldn't work. All right, so I had to, hey, I had to find a different, all the way, a different calculator because the other one was kind of crazy. So I can put it on the Edmodo site so you can get to it. But basically, you put the loan amount, and you know that he owes $1,000, and the term was 3 years. But I mean, 3 months, right? 3 months. So because this one says in years, what is the decimal of 3 months? 0.25, right? So you would divide the amount of months by 12, and that will give you the what you need to, the number that you need to put in here. Then that's automatic, the 3 months, and then you put the interest rate and then calculate, and it gives you 345 a month. It's not very difficult. You have a formula for that, but hang on. Can I see it? If we go back and our formula says, did you not write it down? PRT, so it was 100, 1,000 times. Okay, so for you guys, you will not have to learn how to do it by hand because it won't be on there. I was going over the book, and there is nowhere in there where they actually ask you to do it by hand. So it's all online. I will give you some assignments on how to do that over the weekend, but don't worry about calculating this by hand. The formula is really long; it's a little complicated, but to find how much you're gonna have to pay at the end, because you do have to calculate it before you move on. But we'll do that on Monday. For the homework, just whatever I gave you at the beginning, and don't worry about this. I have to explain a little more because it can be a little complicated. It's not the same thing as what I was thinking. All right, see you Monday.